Hello, this is talking about yesterday. So, yesterday I felt like crap, like absolute crap, uh, at night, like by the end of the day. And it's because um, I feel like I have another failing relationship going on. So the last time I talked about, like, I was on this dating app and I switched my location to the southern United States and I live in Canada. And I was seeing who's down there, what the women are like and everything, and then I matched with this one girl, and it's hard to ever take anything seriously. Um, but then it started feeling like it was more like, wow, this could work. And then I was like, oh man, this might be another delusion. And I really hate that feeling. And because it feels like a pattern, and I hate that so much. It feels horrible. And yeah, so this is going to sound really negative because I wrote all this stuff down yesterday, like last night. But today, like I went to sleep. I had a nap too because I was feeling so bad. I just needed to sleep a lot. But yeah, it's just that I try to do everything right in life. Like I try hard to do things right. Um, but I still feel like extremely depressed. I feel anxiety. It feels like I push people away. It feels like I'm cursed because I have the anxious avoidant or disorganized attachment style, which I've talked about it quite a few times, but it's basically like you feel like other people are not as close as you want them to be, or it feels like they're too close, and so you can never get them in the right spot, right? And you're dealing with people, so it's like they're also um, have their own, feelings and attachment style and everything. But this one is also called the disorganized one, and it sucks. Okay, it sucks. Um, it's like the worst possible one you can have, and I also weirdly I feel like my face is upsetting to people. This is just a feeling I have, and it's because I feel like other people's faces, they reflect mine. Like, and I don't know if this is just a thing that's going on in society or what, but um, like I'm trying to say I don't know if it's like all me. It might be like other people too, and everyone's not feeling well about various reasons. But not everyone, but more people than usual, and yeah, it's like when you when you look at somebody and then their face kind of looks like, like if you look over at somebody and then they're like, it's like, bro, what is going on here? And it kind of makes me not feel good because then I think back. I think like to when I was a kid, right? And I would look at people and like older people or other people, and I kind of like would think about like these people are so much older, and I just kind of like had like this awe and wonder, and there's mystery, and I'd probably be looking kind of like similar way, but it's really a tough thing though, because now I'm older, so I'm like I don't know, I probably look older but than other people, but the thing is, for my age, like I'm 30 years old, I actually don't look that old. If you look at pictures of people that were from like the 1970s who are 30, they look so old. Like compared to them, I would look like almost like a teenager or like early 20s. And it was weird. I took my phone and I took a selfie, and then I put it into Grok AI, and I said, "Can you analyze this person's facial phenotype?" your facial phenotype is what your face traits look like based on your ancestry, and everyone has one that is a phenotype. And so Grok analyzed it, and it was interesting. It said that it looked like a late teens to mid 20s person. So yeah, but everybody I meet, they all usually people think I look pretty young. And Grok was pretty accurate. It can analyze like where you're from, and it knew that I had Northwestern European ancestry, like Celtic, British Isles ancestry, and yeah, so it's something to do. But obviously, a lot of people don't want to do that because then you're putting your face onto AI. But yeah, I have like a feeling of, when I feel really low, I have like a feeling of being unlovable or feeling dead inside, and where I'm trying to control things and plan so that I don't feel that way. Yeah. And it's not over with this girl, but it feels over. I'll kind of explain why. So yesterday I went to... So anyways, I was talking to her from the dating app, and then she asked for my Instagram or WhatsApp. And I gave her my WhatsApp, and we were talking over WhatsApp, and I really don't like the whole texting thing. I don't think anyone really likes that much. But that's like the cultural thing, is that you text people back and forth, and it's just retarded. And it's so like immature. Like, that used to be what it was. That used to be like a kid's thing, and now it's like all adults do that. But that's how screwed the culture is. But and then if you try and do things outside of that, it's like people don't know how to act or react or whatever, and so people go straight to like what works, which is like studying human psychology and dating dynamics and everything, and then it gets even more manipulative, and it's just so whack. But yeah, but that's all because our culture rotted out and the floor fell out that people were standing on. So it's all just kind of floating mess. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so oh right, so what I did, and we were sending voice notes back and forth, which actually I prefer that, right? And she called me, and then we were talking for like an hour or something, and it's really weird. I'm gonna say this. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but she was saying that she had a psychotic break from her work. And the reason I mention that is because it's like psychotic people attract each other. It's like certain types of people attract each other. Does that make any sense? Like, I seriously think that. And that's part of the pattern thing that I don't like. But it's like, also, it's for a reason, perhaps. Like, they say everything's for a reason, but yeah, so we were talking on the phone, and I guess we talked for like an hour, and then but this girl, she like really wants children, and I can see why. And she's like 25, and I've said it before, but I think she's very beautiful. What was I gonna say? But at the same time, I'm like, I'm very deep into my faith, so I want that to come first. Like, I don't want to, sacrifice that over for anything. So what I wanted to do was, I said, well, could we schedule a time, and then we'll talk and we'll read the Bible together? And she said she'd love that, and I said okay. And so I did that, and then yesterday, so this is where we get to yesterday. I went to the chiropractor in the morning, and then I went to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class, just a free trial. I guess I was in the later morning, and then I hadn't been in like 4 years. I did like just 6 classes 4 years ago, and so I'm very new. Like I don't have any skill or anything. But I was rolling with a black belt, and he was a very nice guy. But he kind of looked like Joe Rogan. Not trying to be insulting or anything, but he had that same kind of like look, like he was, on a well built, like very strong upper body, and then all tattoos on the arms and bald head. So, and also a nice person, so kind of reminded me of Joe Rogan. But I actually thought it was a lot of fun doing the jiu-jitsu, but the thing is, it was like a lot for me. Like it's a lot for my nervous system, for my body, and what I mean by that is, like I have the ability, like the strength and everything, and my back, I'm easy on my back, but my back's doing a lot better. I had a herniated disc in my lower back, and surprisingly, my back was okay during the class, didn't hurt, but it's like my energy is like kind of, not really, I guess, fully recovered or fully there. But the thing is, it's like you cannot really just recover your energy by yourself. You actually have to go out into the world and socialize and do things, and that's the part that's really hard. That's the disconnect part for, I think, a lot of people, is that you cannot just be in your room looking on your phone or reading stuff online by yourself, and even going on like Discord or like going on wherever it is, all that online shit, it is no substitute. And that's the trick. That is the trick that's been played on so many people, is that all of the socialization good stuff that people crave and don't even really realize that maybe they crave it on such a deep level of connection, that has been like bastardized onto online. Like it's been ripped from from real life, and can't say this right. It's all people have tried to transfer all of that to online as a substitute, and it tricks the brain. It tricks a lot of people's brains into thinking that it is a substitute. And people develop parasocial relationships. They feel smarter than they are because they're just online all the time. They get into their own rabbit hole, and the rabbit hole never ends, by the way. Or for some people it can, and it's more like things just flying off into space in separate directions. What actually needs to happen is people need to be in real life. So, anyways. That rant and that digression, just to say, I went down there and I was like, my energy is not like fully healed, but this is like from when I was a kid. So what happens is, like I was doing this, they call it rolling. So I was like, we're practicing moves, and if you've seen jiu-jitsu or martial arts, you know that it's just like you're basically like one person on top of the other, and you're trying to like fight for a submission, to submit the other person or defend it or something like that. And we're just practicing, I think, the overarm hook and into like a leg lock on the head, something like that. It felt kind of advanced for my first class, but I actually had fun. Like at first it was tough, but I was kind of like switching. Like I would describe it as like my energy was like switching, like, because it was an unfamiliar scenario, but I sort of like switched between like fawning. Like I've talked about this before, but there's the different in psychology, there's the different states that you can be in, and there's like a lot of like good states that you can be in, and that would be like secure, and you know, you have confidence and you're just learning and you're everything, but and things are going well. But you can also, like, your nervous system can switch into fight, flight, freeze, flop, or fawn or flop. That's what they call those. People used to just say fight or flight, but there's like 3 more apparently. And so your nervous system can like switch into those depending on the situation and like what's happening. And it's not always like you can control it. That's the thing, is like, I guess the ego or the mind or whatever always wants to be in control, but it's not like you can fully control all of that stuff. And so, and the reason for that is a lot of it is based on, you know, how your nervous system's adapted from when you're a kid and then throughout your life. And a lot of people just live like that. They don't even realize, right? And I always think that the story, like what we think, it's always kind of like secondary. I think it's a lot of it is secondary. It's kind of a weird thing because we think in terms of stories. This is like an advanced concept, but we think in terms of stories. That's how we process the world. Although people think that they're real, and in my opinion, there's a true story. It's Jesus. But yeah, it gets very complicated and advanced. But my nervous system like switched to fawn, and it's like you kind of feel like you're just trying to like agree or do what's right for the other person when you're in a fawn state. And I don't even really like saying that because it makes it, you feel weak. Like it's kind of like just like a don't hurt me type of thing. It's like, okay, I'll do what you want, just don't hurt me. That's kind of the subtext of it, and just kind of like agreeing and trying to like people please and fulfill what you think other people want of you. And that's what a fawn state is. And it felt like I was kind of like switching into that at some point, but then later on it's like I kind of like maybe went through that perhaps, and I was actually having fun. Like we were playing a game like where you try and submit the other person, and they're supposed to defend, you know, not like, it's not like hardcore or anything, but just lightly defend or whatever. And this guy was a black belt, so obviously he extremely skilled, but it was kind of fun, honestly. It was kind of fun. Yeah, and obviously it's all just for learning experience, so yeah. But okay, so the reason I say all that, so I went to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that was really taxing on my nervous system. That's the point I was trying to make about all of that. And I'm glad that I went, and they're all nice people there, and I would go back, but it was a lot. Like, it was a lot. And then so later in the day, I was like sore, and I have like bruises on my my arm, like the bicep and the like in the armpit bicep area. And then I kind of like I had this scheduled like Bible study appointment with this girl, and the reason I schedule it is because I really I really don't like the texting back and forth stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll schedule a time with you. And honestly, I think that's like a better idea, but the culture resists that. But this girl seemed okay with it. So, and then I called her, and I was taking this nattokinase. Nattokinase, it's supposed to dissolve amyloid microclots, which 100% of people who have taken the COVID vaccine apparently have amyloid microclots in their bloodstream. And I don't know the full extent of this, but of the effects of that, but it doesn't sound good. And it's I think, yeah, I want to try and take that to try and dissolve some of that. And honestly, I felt like it was doing something, or at least it was giving me more of a different feeling, like almost like a good feeling, kind of. But uh, I'm not exactly sure why, if it was because it was dissolving this stuff, or how long it would take to do that, or if it was just increasing blood flow, which is what it's supposed to do. I'm not 100% sure. But I was taking this stuff, and I took one of those like an hour before I was going to talk to this girl, and I don't know, during the phone call, I just felt like way too like afraid and vulnerable and everything, and I just felt like women use this term like ick, like they say the ick or whatever, and I felt like that. Like I felt like I was just giving off that. But we just read through the Bible, like one chapter in Luke, and we were talking about it, and it was, I guess you could say, intense, but that's the point. Like that is the point of the Bible, is that it's like a real message. It's not fake. And the reason I chose that we should read the Bible is because I feel like that's a good way to like have a relationship. I feel like that's an important way, or an important thing in a relationship. And I actually don't just think that. I know that from from studies. You can see the ones that last. There's shared faith. So, anyways, that's why I chose that. And also, I'm trying to like lead at the same time too, because the thing is, a lot of women, they have extreme defenses all the time, but what they really want is to be led, and but they want to trust the person who's leading them. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work to do that, because I wasn't like trained to do that. Actually, when you're a kid, you're supposed to be trained to do that by your family, by your father. Like my dad wasn't there to do that for me, so I have to like learn this stuff by myself. And society, like school and everything, they don't teach you that. They teach you actually the opposite. School teaches you the exact opposite. And if you think that you're going to go to university and learn all of that, it teaches you the opposite. Like it teaches you, it does not teach you those things. That is how to be like a spiritual leader, how to how to think like eternally, instead of just thinking in like terms of, I'm gonna be impressive in this next interaction, and then it's just, that's just a cycle. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, I felt way too overextended. I was kind of like spacing out, and I felt like my everything from my perspective was kind of warped yesterday. Like I just had a hard time kind of like stringing things together, and I just felt kind of out of it. And honestly, I wonder what to do. Like last night I was wondering this, like, what do I do? But I prayed. I kind of just, I was reading a book, and then I tried to just go to bed, and I prayed, and it was actually just like hard to even pray. I didn't even pray for long, but I actually said a prayer with this girl. But the thing is, it's like, it's really weird, because if you're like carefree and it's like you almost like don't care about a woman, then she likes you more. But if you care and you're like, I want to make this work and everything, she likes you less. That's actually true. So it's kind of like BS. And obviously it sort of depends on the women, and women like to think that they know what they want and what's good, but a lot of them just don't. You know what I mean? They're on TikTok, they watch a bunch of crap that's made by women for women. It's like, come on. But that's kind of like the state of where things are, There was that clip I watched of Nick Fuentes on. It was like a clip on X where he said that the biggest political enemy in America is women. It's so funny. It's so true. And then there was I don't know if it was a different clip, but he was talking about how women are pissing him off because they are they are they have like this annoying voice, and they say like, "Run, don't walk to the newest Italian," and they're like talking about the food at like this like gaudy place, like tasteless place, and they have no taste in food, and they're just like annoying. It was hilarious, and this guy said to him, my girlfriend loved that clip or something, and then Nick is like, "I'm glad I could gesture max for your girlfriend, stupid fucking bitch." Sorry, I shouldn't even say that. That's kind of like, shouldn't be repeating that. It's kind of not really what you're supposed to say, but I just thought it was hilarious. And he was saying like he's just pissed off, like women are so retarded. It's actually really funny. So right now but he said this for a while, but he's saying like he's saying like I'm switching to the side of the Jews, like all of you are oppressing me, like all of the goyim. And I know it's like convoluted and everything, but the whole idea is that people are just like the masses of people are kind of retarded, and he's getting annoyed by that. And I mean, it's like a eternal problem. I guess I don't know if it's a problem, or if it's just you see it as a problem, but it is something that has to be like considered, and yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, so anyway, that was just an aside. So this girl, she said something I liked. She said, if it's the person you're meant to be with, what you say won't push them away. That's actually true. Yeah, and these are just more thoughts from yesterday. It was, I was having a pretty rough night. I wrote down that my personal experience daily felt like nearly like hell for years. And it's from that, at least I think, but it's from a combination of things, but it got like way worse. Things got way worse for me after that huge mushroom trip I had, like a 5-gram heroic dose. I had like ground up mushrooms, like golden teachers. I took 5 grams of them, and I mixed it 5 grams, and I mixed it with lemon juice. This is called the lemon tech method. It's supposed to intensify them. And then I did a 2-day fast. So I had 0 in my stomach. I drank 5 grams of these ground up mushrooms with lemon juice. Just a retarded idea. And also I prayed, or I like asked, my hand was over like a Bible, and I asked for God to give me, I can't remember, like healing or wisdom. But it was like I had my hand over a Bible and the native sage, like the smudging sage, which is like a native Aboriginal spiritual practice. And that was like a huge mistake, because I didn't really know at the time how serious all of that stuff is on a spiritual level. And I thought, like, if I do all of this, like take all these mushrooms, that I will I'll heal all my childhood trauma. I'll understand all of this stuff that's been bothering me for so long. The void, or the whatever, like black hole that it feels like is inside my my body, I'll be able to understand and fill it or fix it or something. I didn't really think of that part exactly, but that was kind of like what I was sort of like the intention, just sort of like, life is so challenging. Let me do something extreme and I'll fix it once and for all, quote unquote fix. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. So, but yeah, it put me into psychosis, like, and the thing is, if you're actually like in a psychosis, it's hard because you don't even know that you're in it, or it feels like you've lost touch with everything. You want to get out. It's like, that's the whole thing, and this is why I don't really recommend psychedelics to people. It's because they're dangerous. Like, the whole thing is like kind of like about control, and you're supposed to go with the trip. And I've done mushrooms before. I've done psychedelics, like I've done LSD, done mushrooms. I watched a bunch of videos on it and everything, and and you'll just keep getting the same information over and over, and it's like you have to go with it and everything. And that is true, but at that extreme level, and like the pain too, like the stomach pain and everything from like the lemon juice and probably just the mushrooms themselves, it was like too much, and I could not go with it. And so basically I guess like I just wanted to be out of the trip at a certain point. Well, I sort of passed out. Like, basically I just passed out. I lost consciousness completely, and the entire trip lasted like I don't know, like 10 or 12 hours, but for about like probably 3 or 4 hours of the first amount of it, I was just passed out. And then when I woke up, it's like I was coming back, but I was like coming back from hell. And the hell, just to let you know, like, and this is trigger warning or whatever, probably scary information, just letting you know, but this is real information. It's like a fractal, okay? Hell is like a fractal, or it's like a circle, but it's like a spiral away from God. It's a spiral away from stability and everything. And the fractal is like every, if you've ever seen a fractal, it's, there's like a center point, and then it just keeps like going inward or coming outward, and it looks like that, and it's like spiraling kind of outward and inward. That is reality essentially. And the hell part is that you're trapped in one of these spirals outward, or I guess if you were going inward it would be fine, but it feels like you're trapped and it's like coming outward. I'm not actually too sure how to put that, but, and this is the hard part to really understand, is that it's like there's not really like a separation. It's like you're just like in that, and you kind of like want to be out of it and to like see it, and so you can like navigate or whatever, but and control in some way, but you're just like stuck in that. And it's the not being separated part that's the really hard thing. And yeah, because once you start to fight, like I was like this is too much, and I didn't want to be feeling that anymore. And then also like my entire like perception and everything was so like warped as well, where everything was like a spiral. It was like everywhere I looked was like a spiral. And so I remember I had a candle that I lit, and thanks be to God I didn't burn down my house or something, but I looked at the candle, and I like kind of like put my hand closer to it, and it was like my fingers were like spiraling into the candle. And then I just tried to like wait out the trip, and then I couldn't do it alone as well, and I was trying to like call a friend, and my friend was not able to like come help me or anything because he was at work. And then I was feeling like really alone, and I had roommates at the time, and they just like left the house. I don't know if they could really tell that I was like having a terrible time or what, but it seemed like they just like took off, that they were scared or something. And then my friend told me to like take a shower, because I called him, and he also was into mushrooms. And that's the thing is like, if you're into this kind of stuff, you know, it's like birds of a feather. So he also was into this stuff, but he told me like, you know, just try to take a shower, that might help. And then so I tried doing that, didn't help. It's like I just wanted it to be over, you know. And then I called my therapist at the time, and they weren't really able to help, and they seemed like really more upset than I was. That's the thing I hate, is when you're having a bad time, if you're having a bad time or something, and there's all these people that say that they're there for you and everything, or they say that, big people say that stuff. I'm not saying that there's a lot of people that say that, but it depends on who you know. But that's just kind of like a general thing people say. Maybe they don't say it as much anymore, but they'd say like, oh, if you ever need me, I'm here. So I called, and I was actually genuinely having a bad time, and this person was like more upset than I was. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're having a bad time like that, you want someone to just be with you there during the trip. And it's like, that's called a trip sitter. The reason I didn't have one is because of that Terrence McKenna advice, where he's like, take 5 grams alone in the dark by yourself, and that's a heroic dose, and that's like where the real mushroom experience begins, or something like this. Like, horrible advice. Like, I do not agree with this stuff. And it's bad advice because you're opening yourself up to like, I guess like evil stuff as well. You're not just like cracking open your mind and whatever. It's like you're opening yourself up to a lot of what could be evil stuff, and then you're also messing with your mind at the same time. And you know, risking psychosis and all of this stuff, which I already said. I feel like I put myself in there, into psychosis, and so very dangerous. And then yeah, this therapist was like telling me to like call 911 or something, and I was considering it, but I still don't know. I don't think it would have been like a great idea. But then I called my brother, and my brother actually came down. He was at school at the time, I think, for some reason, but it was a very far drive, and it was the winter. And with my family, it's like, it's always a huge deal. Like, anything is always a huge deal. That's why I don't want to almost ever do anything with them. But I genuinely needed someone, and my brother actually showed up. So, you know, thankful for that. And you know, he was there, and he was kind of like sitting with me and talking with me. And then the other thing is, I was very talkative too, and I was talking about a lot of spiritual matters. This kind of like goes with the territory. All of these things sort of somewhat go together, and they kind of give it a bad name in a sense, because then, you know, quote, regular people hear it, and then they get afraid, basically. But you cannot get away from this in life. That's sort of why the mushrooms bring you there, or all these psychedelics. It's like, you can't get away from that stuff in life, even though all of regular society tries to keep you away, or make it seem like you don't need that stuff, and that, you know, atheism is a viable option. It's like, no, it never is. And there's many reasons why, but the thing is that people just stop seeking, they stop inquiring, they stop trying to learn, and they just go into comfort and quote security, but you're never going to get out alive, and you're never going to not have to deal with these things at certain points. Even if you don't feel like it right now, maybe later, it's just, it comes to people at different points in their life. Not that I'm trying to be mean about it or anything, I'm just trying to speak factually, I guess you could say. And then eventually I went to bed. Eventually I was able to eat something and go to bed. So, but I also, the thing that really helped was I started watching videos about Jesus Christ, and I actually felt like, because the thing too is if you're on these psychedelics, it like cracks open your heart. It cracks open your, it breaks down a lot of like your mental defenses and everything, and it cracks open your heart or your spirit, or you're just more connected, you could say. It's probably the best way to put it, but it's like not a very, it's kind of a buzzword, but you literally feel more connected to everything, the environment, people around you. You're more gentle, and yeah, you're on a different level of consciousness, like typically a higher level, but not necessarily. And then I went, I was watching videos of Jesus, and I felt like this great love. I felt like protection, love, safety, which during the entire trip I did not feel those things, did not feel those things, because I think this is because Jesus is a spiritual being, and I truly believe that. And as Christians, we believe he's actually God incarnated on earth, and then he died, but he's still here. Like, he's like the Word. He lives inside of people's hearts, and that's because he's love. He is the incarnation of love, which is God. I know it's kind of tough to understand all of that, but that's what it is. They say Jesus is the Word became flesh, and the Word is like a vibrational thing, but and then we have meaning or understanding that we get when we hear words in our mind, and then we interpret the meaning of them. This is why you can tell somebody I love you, and to them it can make them angry. There's quotes by the saints that say that if you haven't acquired the love of God in your heart, then God's love, you won't be able to receive it from outside, something like this. I forget, but it truly is, because it's a choice. Like, you don't have to. You actually do not have to accept the love and of God, and it's like that way for a reason, because then it wouldn't be love. It's like, duh, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is that love, it comes externally, like it comes from God all the time, and it's ever present. And the other thing is that God chooses us. We don't choose him. He chooses us. And that point is really important, because it's direct. There's a directionality there, because it's always coming in, like it's always, God's always loving us, but he's always choosing us. And sometimes we can feel like we're not good enough, or we're trying to choose God, but we don't have enough for him to love us back, or something like that. It's like, no. Yeah, he already loves you. And steadfast love. The only way that you could break that, or interrupt that, or damn yourself, is actually through blaspheming the Holy Spirit. You can actually say bad things about Jesus. Jesus himself says that. But if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, I think that's that's the only thing you can't do. And I've heard this before, like a Hindu guy. At the time, I didn't really know anything about Hinduism, but and now I know that they worship demons. but he was asking me, like, he was trying to make the case that, oh, well, you're just forgiving yourself. God forgives you all the time. Well, you're just forgiving yourself. And you're just thinking that. It's just your own thought process, like, oh, I did something bad. I pray to God, and then I'm forgiven. But his point was like, well, aren't you just praying to yourself, and then you're forgiving yourself? And that's kind of his point. He's trying to make it sound like circular. And he's saying, well, is there nothing you can't do that you won't be forgiven for? I told him, well, yeah, there's one thing. It's if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit. So don't do that. That's the thing you can't do. And I don't know all the particulars of that. So just look into it more if you're upset about that point. Because some people can get like I guess a religious OCD where they're really afraid of that they've done that. But I don't really know all the particulars around that. I just know that's what that says in the Bible. Jesus himself says that. Yeah, and so now it's like the psychosis thing. Feels like feels like I'm like permanently crazy, or like I'm permanently psychotic, but I'm kind of like coming to terms with it because it is bad, but what can I do? You just kind of have to accept things at a certain point. And also it's not like I'm like super like nuts or anything. It's just that I've kind of like, I don't feel things as much anymore, and then the psychotic feeling comes in episodes. And they get spaced further and further apart. Yeah. When I was younger, it felt like life was good at times. I would notice different things a lot more than I do now when I'm older, but this is, I think all children can relate to this, although they can't put it into words, but you notice the light hitting things from different angles. You notice like perspectives much differently. You can take a different perspective. You can look at something and it just looks so much like an entire world is within that thing. If you look at like a little rock or a leaf, you stare at like the little lines on a leaf and everything. And especially like light hitting things, it's just like, it gives you like a feeling. Like if you're going into a big building, if you're a kid, and then there's big windows, and you look and there's like light hitting the things, and there's all these hallways and doorways, and it seems like it could go on forever, and there's like hidden rooms, and you don't know what everyone's doing, and there's just like an ambiance and a feeling to things and an atmosphere. But yeah, it can also feel very lonely and very fleeting. I know people try to capture that. They put it into books, or even now what I'm doing, I'm trying to capture a reflection on that and put it into a video, but it feels fleeting. Like it feels like lonely and fleeting at times. And we try hard to plan things and to hold on. But yeah, I don't know. You can only so much. And then it's, again, you have to just kind of go with it. And yeah. And I wrote a note about how Jesus is perfection. He's the continuation of perfection. And I was kind of talking about how Jews, they reject him because, they thought they had perfection. They don't realize that perfection just continued in the person of Jesus. And so it's actually Jews that broke off. It's not Jesus that broke off, although they try and say that. But it was Jews that did. And then, yeah, the feeling of survival and instability is horrible. And that's also what's been going on for our whole society, is we're all just being pushed into like a destabilization. That's a lot of why people are going crazier, is because things are becoming more destabilized. That's a tough thing because it's at a social level, right? Um, and then, at least for me, it feels like knowing too much is like a curse. And it's weird because it's like, we get taught that we're supposed to learn things, and it's a quote good thing to know things. But if you continue on with that, it's like a curse. And it goes back to Adam and Eve and eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And actually, I was talking about this with that girl from the dating app, and she was saying, yeah, there's also the tree of life. And I was like, I completely forgot about the tree of life, That was the other tree in the Garden of Eden, the tree of life. And that's like you live forever. And that's what we're trying to do, is actually just to get back into the Garden of Eden, return to the tree of life. Yeah, and it's a process. It's a lifelong process. So it's a tough one. And for me, it's really hard not enjoying anything, because I really don't really enjoy anything. The thing that I enjoy is actually just being around people and like being in people's company and that. But it's a hard one because, yeah, it feels like it's not as easy to do that anymore. But I really like being around people and being in their company. But yeah. But yeah, when you learn too much, it makes human behaviors, you feel like you know too much, and then you're worried about like whether I know what's gonna happen, and or if I'm just kind of like thinking that I know what's gonna happen. And it's kind of a mix, but truthfully, you can predict a lot of like what people are gonna do, and it doesn't always make you feel that good, honestly. It's kind of like a burden when you know all the possible outcomes as they apply to how people are gonna feel. You know what I mean? And make no mistake, this is being used on you all the time, all of the time, through advertising, through social policy, through a bunch of different things. So that's kind of the thing that sucks, is because it's like, well, it's like the security dilemma. Like, you need to learn this stuff so you can defend against it, but then once you learn it, you're just like in that game, and it's just like not fun. It's like not a fun game. It's not fun. But yeah, and it sounds crazy, but like, what can you do? Or I feel crazy, but what can I do? And I'm not gonna take medication again, because it doesn't work. I've tried it. It's like the doctors or psychiatrists, they try and make you think that it's gonna work, and it doesn't. It makes you feel like shit. It makes you feel worse. It doesn't even help with what you're struggling with, and it almost is just like way worse, and it shrinks your brain volume, and like, dude, no thanks. What can I do? So I just pray and I do all this stuff and I suffer. And last night I was feeling terrible, so I wrote down that I have a fear of money, a fear of loneliness, a fear of humiliation, a fear of eternal damnation, and that the real me is like crazy, a broken person, a sinner, a nut job, a wacko, that I feel like I'm in so much pain all the time, and that currently I just want to sleep. Everything is so hard. I feel like a voice answers me when I ask certain questions. My head hurts currently. my attachment system is super distressed. Yesterday, my brother sent me pictures of himself from like his old camera roll when he was homeless and like super skinny, and you could just tell that he was on some things because his like vision was like this. Yeah, and he just sends the pictures. He doesn't say anything along with it, and it makes me angry because there's like no correct response to that. It's just about him. Like it's just it just feels like it's about him, and that I'm being used by him, and I feel like I get used by my family as well, and it just makes me feel like scared and alone. Like, yeah, and my own behaviors, I feel like they're not attractive. Like people just wouldn't want to be around me, and it's really hard because if you try to be like attractive or like a person that people want to be around, it seems like it doesn't work, or you get limited success, or like you're just like insecure or waiting for it to like not work, which is a tough place to be in. But I think the answer to that is that you're supposed to just one, pray, and then have faith, but also just keep putting yourself into situations, slow growth, slow progress, so that you can get more comfortable being around people. Because if you just don't do it, then it's not gonna ever change. But yeah, that nattokinase, it did not really work, and I feel like, well, it worked, but yesterday I think I might have taken too much. I took 3 yesterday, 6,000 FU, but fibrinolytic units, not the F word, not FU. But yeah, I feel like when people see me or get to know me, eventually they leave. It just sucks. It's demoralizing. And last night, if I was like, it feels over, it feels so over. But maybe not. Put hope in God and store up treasures in heaven. Where you store your treasures, that's where your heart will be. But I feel so dead inside, and I got a voice in my head that tells me that things aren't going to work out, and I wonder if it's an angel, and then I hear the word back yes, and then I wonder if it's a demon, and I hear back no, and then it feels like it's telling me to follow Jesus' commandments, but that's very hard and scary. And then I think about like, what about sex? What about marriage? What about kids? The things that that I want, like, but that feel somewhat selfish. But in the Bible it says, seek the kingdom of God, and then God wants to give you all the like these good things, but you're supposed to seek the kingdom of God first. So, as you can tell, huge mess. Huge mess, but what can I do? Like, that's the thing. I wonder what can I do, because I've tried so many things. I've tried asking people, I've tried talking to people, I've tried going to therapy, I've tried looking online, I've tried just a bajillion different things, and it's like, bruh, it just feels so hard. Not ever finding like what exactly I can do. But yeah, I think just keep praying, keep reading the Bible. It's a pretty tough one. Tough situation. Yeah. I think also, like, I'm in like chronic pain. Like, my back hurts all the time, my head hurts all the time. I think these things have a lot to do with just not feeling like comfortable as well, because my body is like literally in pain. But anyway, had to vent and rant. Feels good to vent and rant. I think it's kind of a good thing. To do it in like a healthy way, because not really imposing on anyone. No one has to watch these videos, and I don't think really many people do, or if they do at all. I'm really thankful that some people do. I noticed that I get like 10 views, 12 views. Sometimes I get a like. So I'm thankful to those people who watch, however much they do. And yeah, I think it's kind of relatable to people as well. And I always try and make my message just to be, return to prayer and put your hope into something greater than yourself, which, I'm trying not to be a hypocrite, because it's a hard message to actually follow, but yeah, that's my takeaway from all of it. Here's my cat.